Welcome to Bloom Today. We have a revolutionary show for you. We're going to be talking about how God redeems what Satan destroys.
Hi, I'm Paula Wallace, president of Bloom in the Dark, and this is
Ginny Priz, the single-handed serenity coach. Welcome to Bloom Today, where we talk about internal and external brokenness and how you can heal,
so that you can use the fertilizer of your past to bloom today. Hey everybody, today we are talking about how God redeems what Satan destroys. And you know what? Sometimes I get really pissed at what Satan destroys.
Seriously. He causes more anger than anyone else in my life, than I can imagine.
Because it's like damage, and it's constant attack and damage and trying to ruin things and mess things up, and it just shows up all the time. Oh yeah, we might be in a battleground. Doing this kind of show and talking about stuff he really prefers people shut up about and not talk about.
Sure, Satan would love to have us not say anything. And actually, that's one of the things that one of the lies that he told me, sit down and shut up. When God first started asking me to speak, he just said that one word, speak, speak, speak to me. And that helped me, because when Satan finally started really loudly shouting, sit down and shut up, I knew it was his voice. I knew it had to be a lie, because God had already affirmed that he wanted me to stand up and speak.
Right. So I graduated from high school thinking I couldn't write, because Satan was trying to go after my writing voice, even though I'd gone to college and gotten college credit for creative writing at 15 on a scholarship. By the time I was 18 and graduated high school, I thought I couldn't write.
How does that work?
Satan just chips away at and accuses and breaks down. So you can't write. You have no talent like somebody that has a singing voice, except they don't, and they think they do, and they want to sing all the time, except you're like, could you please, not?
Right.
I thought my writing voice was like that, and that I was delusional to think that I had the ability to write.
Right. Because Satan doesn't go after something that's just kind of mediocre. He goes straight for our talents. He goes for what he knows is going to be effective for God's kingdom. That's his strategy, is to take out that which could be the most effective.
Right, so then I got told I couldn't speak. You talk too much. You say the wrong things. You talk too loud. You talk too often. You talk all this stuff to where I felt like anytime I opened my mouth, it was a bad thing.
Right.
And the comedy of it was when I finally took a talent test that broke down all of everything that you were good at, my number one thing at the top of the list was verbal and written communication. So he was going after. Satan was just going after what God had given me as a gift that he meant to use, like he is now through this show and the Bloom in the Dark book and whatever. He went after that to destroy it before I ever got out the gate, before I ever had a chance to even start doing this stuff. He went after it. And he sees
the effectiveness of it. I mean, he's been doing this for a long time. He's been going after us and doing war strategy and all that for a long time. And so we're the ones who, being born into it, new and innocent and not as savvy as the serpent, we get that handicap, if you will, to have to kind of catch up to what it is and have to understand, oh, okay, this isn't from God, and yes, this is a battlefield of the mind going on, and I need to, and it's not even of the mind. I say it's of the mind because that's where a lot of it is done, but he comes to literally steal, literally kill. And literally destroy. That, like it says in John 10:10, the thief does not come except to kill, steal, and destroy. That's the only reason he's walking around. That's the only reason he wants to get into our business.
You mean you can look at your life and look at the places where something has been lost or destroyed or has died, or somebody, and see his hand causing harm and trying to do damage. Like, my innocence was stolen as a small child. That was stolen. That was him stealing, him doing damage. And the temptation that he throws at us is to blame God. When the fact of the matter is, Satan is orchestrating evil every way he possibly can. In fact,
the only thing he knows how to do
is
evil. Destroy and the father of lies and all of that. So we can, and the Lord says that we can recognize by the fruit. We can recognize what is good and what is evil by the fruit that it produces. So what is that? What is that fruit that we can be looking for?
Right.
Then?
So if there's death, then the kill part might be playing a role.
That might be it.
If something's stolen or lost, that might be the steal part of that equation. If relationships are destroyed, that might have something to do with the destruction.
Destroy part?
Oh. Some of it is so simple and straightforward, but so many times in the moment, in the situation, we get so wrapped up in the emotions of it that we don't realize, hey, this is a clear-cut battlefront. In fact, in Ephesians 6:12, it says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world. I can't even, keep the scripture straight, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. This battle that we're playing out here on earth is just the symptoms of the battlefront where Satan is coming after God's children, his creation, to cause destruction. And we look at our lives and we can see all these landmarks where he has done harm and destroyed and stolen and killed, whether it's the 2 babies that I lost. And that's death. That's not life.
Right.
And God gives life. So that's a symptom. Wait a second, that was something that got taken away.
Right. Which is very serious. But then, of course, there's those things that we don't, on the other side, we don't necessarily put Satan's label on it or his face on it, because it's harder when I'm trying to have a relationship with a friend of mine and they're choosing things that I don't agree with. And so there's this tension between us. What do we do with that? Well, I could be angry at them for making decisions that maybe hurt me, or I could say, oh, the enemy has a hand in this situation, and the enemy wants to cause division and tear us apart. But so often our first instinct is to blame the person and shift our energy and our hatred at the person, and not so much at the real enemy that is behind it.
Well, if he can keep it there and destroy the relationships instead of us looking to obey God, which says to forgive, says to, love your enemies and bless them that curse you and do good to them that despitefully use you and whatever. Of course, we're not talking about allowing ongoing abuse, but we're still talking about in our own hearts the forgiving and the letting go and the blessing and the praying for and the doing good spiritually in outreach. That so takes away from the destruction that Satan is causing. And that's the thing, when we recognize that fruit that Satan is throwing at us. I mean, the loss. Where have you seen loss in your life where he's stolen?
Come on, there's no loss. No. I'm human, I'm living, I'm alive, I've experienced loss, obviously.
Anyone ever stolen from you?
Yeah, I had a break-in, actually, when I was living up in Rhode Island for an internship, and it was, brand new area of the country. I'm just out of college, eager and excited. What is this new chapter of my life going to bring? And, my parents dropped me off, and brand new apartment building, and they left, and as I'm the first one in the building, of course, out of 10 people who are going to be there, and I'm the very first one to arrive. And that evening, I'm looking out my window on the phone with someone telling them about my new neighborhood, and I see a drug deal right in front of the building. Oh. And I was like, oh, that was my first clue that maybe this wasn't the best neighborhood. Well, by the time the last person had moved in, the very next day, we had a break-in, and there was, we were in the middle of work. We got a phone call that there had been a break-in, and we had to go and go to the house and see what had been stolen. And that was the first time that I really understood the stealing part and the violation of what that feels like.
Yeah,
and
because your space wasn't let me use my mouth here. Speaking, your space wasn't safe.
Right.
Anymore, because you knew people could break in and do harm, and that takes that sense of safety.
Right. Now God came into that and used that, because there was a break-in so early. The theater company that I was there for was amazing, and they put us up in a hotel until they could find new housing for us. They knew that was
safer
in a safer environment. They recognized this was a problem, that they didn't want us to have to be in a place that was unsafe. And it wasn't just, until we fix the doors. It was, we're finding a new location for you. So that was
God brought good into
really
it
cool
then.
to me, because for me, where I was feeling worthless, underneath everything at that point, I was surprised that they would do that for us, that they would spend that money to keep us housed that way because they valued us so highly. And that was a shock to me. I don't know if that's a shock to anyone else, but to me, it was like, really? You're going to, okay, I'll take it. So it was a blessing in the end.
Yeah, and then the killing part, like I said, with losing babies, that was definitely death and not life. But there's also suicide as a way that he kills.
Oh, yeah.
There's illnesses, the way stress and fear comes in and causes illness.
80% of illness supposedly is supposed to, by doctors have said that that's what causes most illnesses.
Yeah, psychosomatic. It's the mind, stress, emotions, fear,
or the cortisol
whatever
flowing through you that is damaging your system.
Right, and then you have all these diseases out of it, and then your health is messed up, and then you can't work right, and then you're having to fight through just for basic functioning when you have all these diseases coming after you, and as stress levels and fear levels go up, the damage, the health issues, everything goes.
Your peace of mind. I mean, he just steals your peace of mind in the middle of all that, and that's where it starts and can just spiral out of control.
And then that destruction we're talking about with the division in relationships, he escalates that to division in churches.
Oh, yeah.
To dividing people from people in churches. Oh, well, I can't go to church anymore because someone in church hurt me. The crazy thing is Satan is going to go after those relationships in churches because he doesn't want us in God's house. He doesn't want us. And where you and I both talk about how religion is nothing, but a relationship with God is. And gathering together with God's people and worshiping together is so powerful. And Satan just thinks, if I can cause some kind of destruction or damage with someone in the church or someone in leadership or have somebody fall off their pedestal, then I can destroy so many people's belief in God within that structure.
There's a reason for that saying, divide and conquer. Yeah,
for real.
Absolutely. And if you want to learn a little bit more about this and how it can apply to your life, you can go to our website, which is bloomtodaytv.com, and download this week's coaching tool. And there you'll be able to download it. It's a few questions that can help you apply it to your life, and then some exercises to bring you baby steps forward to where you want to be, to recognizing the good fruit versus the fruit of the lies that Satan tells us.
So I want to introduce my friend.
Please do.
Crazy story. Met her in elementary school, and we kind of lost touch with each other going into high school because her family moved away from where we were. But in God's redemption, He has reconnected us because we both have a heart for the hurting people. We've both walked really tough journeys and found redemption in Christ. And I'm just so excited that I got to see her for the first time in like 30 years today.
That's
today,
crazy.
because that's how you should meet up again and have a reunion on a television show.
Why not?
But her name is Trisha Lynn, and I'm so excited you're here. Come on up, girl.
Trisha, come into the kitchen.
And can you give her a hand, Ginny?
Yes, I can.
Oh my
Trisha,
gosh.
this hand's for you.
Okay, here you go. You're going to keep it? I'm going to keep it.
Okay, fine. You know what?
Hey, girl.
I offered it. I guess I should be.
Good. Okay, here. Now we'll put that back on there. Here we go. Yeah,
Glad I could
we
lend
don't
a
want to
hand.
scare anybody today, right?
No.
So I'm excited to be here. So excited to be here.
It was like yesterday.
So-
we saw each other, like,
Yes.
and here we are 30. I'm like,
30 years later.
Except yesterday was 30 years ago.
A little more gray hairs, a lot more wrinkles. But yeah.
hey, I cover up all my white hair.
Well, mine's not, so.
Y'all are
We won't
beautiful.
point it out that bad.
So
yes, I'm
Trisha,
excited.
you have had a story where Satan has come in and tried to steal, kill, and destroy, like we've been
all of it.
talking about. Would you
All
share
of
with
it.
us a little
All
bit
of it.
about
Oh,
what that's been
wow.
like?
I don't know if I need to go back all 30 years or not, but
Hey.
he did. He definitely tried to destroy me, and there was a point where I'll just jump to the the main point, I decided that I was going to share my story about forgiving my son's murderer. And from the point that I decided that I was going to tell that story, Satan jumped in full force to destroy me. And that was 10 years ago that I decided to share that story.